Republican George Santos, Democrat Robert Zimmerman battling out on Long Island to replace retiring Congressman Tom Suozzi. The Point starts right now. Voters on Long Island and parts of Queens are saying goodbye to three-term Congressman Tom Suozzi. Robert Zimmerman and George Santos want to replace him. They're here and ready to rumble. Okay.
Good to be with you, Marsha. Good to be with you too, George.
Good to be here. Good
so
to be here,
look,
Robert.
when I went out to your district, people told me that their number one concern is crime. If you get elected, what can you actually do to help them?
Well, I'll tell you what I will do. First of all, the reason this is such a strong issue and such an important issue to me is because I see it impacting everyone throughout our district, either in terms of their fear or their concerns about hate crimes or actual physical violent crimes.
What can you do in Washington?
What you can do as a member of Congress is you can stand up for strong and safe gun safety laws. That's essential to get the flow of illegal gun weapons off our streets, to get rid of the assault weapon, to put an assault weapon ban in place, to get rid of ghost guns. There's major steps you can take on gun safety legislation. I'm a strong advocate of that. Regrettably, George is not. Furthermore, we can focus on reinvesting in our police. That's essential for the federal government to give them the tools and support they need. I've been endorsed by former New York City Police Commissioner Bill Bratton because of my leadership on issues of public safety, standing up for our police, and standing up against gun violence.
Mr. Santos, what would you do in Washington? Gun violence? Gun laws?
I'm glad to see that now you agree that we need to bring federal dollars for our law enforcement officers.
It's been an issue I've worked on for years.
Well, the reality is the Democrats decided it was the appropriate thing to defund the police in New York City in the midst of riots that were taking place in our city, where really you can go to jail for wanting to shop at Macy's, but if you looted and burned it to the ground, that was okay, right? So the reality is I want to go to Congress and make sure that we secure federal funding for law enforcement officers to make sure they understand that as rogue municipalities want to defund them, we'll come in and we'll supply them with the funds they need to do a better job.
What about stronger gun laws?
Well, the reality is criminals don't follow the law. How about reforming the failed bail reform in New York State that I want to work with my local elected...
But George, we have a responsibility to address the gun violence that's a pandemic throughout our country.
Robert,
we could close the
criminals don't follow the law. Let's just be honest.
We could close the loopholes in background checks, so people can't buy guns. So people can't buy guns by avoiding background checks.
And then we don't keep them in jail and release them back out on the streets. That's what your party did.
That's why I took on my party to make changes in bail reform.
But you gave money to Todd Kaminsky to become DA in Nassau County. He authored the bill.
George, you can duck this issue all you want.
You're distracting the people from the reality.
You still allow assault weapons. You won't even support an assault weapons ban. You won't support getting ghost guns off our street.
I will not harm.
This is a pandemic.
Robert, I won't harm law-abiding citizens of the United States because there are gun laws in place. If we just enforce the laws as they stand, that's what needs to be done. We need to be tough on crime. Your party is not tough on crime.
You can talk about my party, but it's up to us and the leadership we bring to Congress.
That you'll just be a rubber stamp for Nancy Pelosi's agenda, Robert.
I know the talking points.
Let's have that understanding.
But here's the reality. I meet so many parents who are worried about their children going through more gun safety drills than fire drills.
I meet children whose parents get killed going to work, being pushed on subways by criminals that your party failed to put in jail.
You know something, it should not be a partisan issue. I agree. I stand with many for fixing our bail reform laws. I've called for it. I took on my own party over that.
You supported Todd Kaminsky, who authored the bill.
He actually advocated changes in it.
But he authored the original bill.
Okay, gentlemen, we've got to get to another.
Marsha, it comes down to this. If we wanted to play a leadership role in Congress,
we need to have an honest discussion about it.
No, we also have to put strong gun safety laws in place. I'll do it. You won't.
Of course.
Mr. Santos, let me ask you this question. The #2 issue in your district, because I have been out there talking to them, is the economy. I wonder what you think is causing it, and what will you do to help stop the inflation that is really hurting everybody?
Well, how about let's stop the war on energy, right? It starts there. On January 20th, 2021, Joe Biden signed a pile of executive orders, one including to shut down energy independence in this country, shutting down the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline.
So are you saying that we should start drilling on public lands?
Absolutely. We're the most responsible nation to extract oil, natural resources in the world. We have local EPA standards, state EPA standards. We have federal EPA standards. Instead of going to OPEC,
on public lands,
I think we have to be very careful. We should not be drilling, certainly on our shorelines for sure. And we have to, in fact, in the short term, deal with domestic drilling. We're up to 12 million barrels a day. That's almost a national record for oil drilling. But here's the point that counts. If we're going to deal with the economic crisis that we're facing, the inflation we're facing, we've got to work in a bipartisan way. It's like the bipartisan infrastructure.
So how are you going to put more money back in your constituents'
Here's how you do it.
pockets?
First, you fight to restore the state and local tax deduction.
So,
Secondly,
I'm in agreement with you on that.
But here's where you're not.
We agree on something.
That's
great.
right. But then we had the bipartisan infrastructure bill that was essential for protecting our water quality on Long Island and Queens, cleaning up contaminated plumes, fixing our roads. You opposed that.
I never said I opposed the bill.
You said that in front of the Building and Trades Union.
I never said I opposed the bill.
You know what we call this, the third congressional?
Not on record.
George, you know what we call this, the third congressional district? You've got 3 positions on every issue.
Oh, come on, Robert.
The prescription drug bill that was put in place, you condemned that as well. The bill to lower the cost of prescription drugs for our seniors, capping insulin at $35 a month for the first time in history.
Amongst all the pork that was in the bill that would exacerbate inflation, like you want to add $50,000 a year as
George,
student debt forgiveness.
There's never going to be a perfect bill.
Well,
but the question is going to be...
Congress isn't willing to put perfect bills out, Robert, and you know that you'll be part of that problem with Nancy.
George, the problem is when we don't put our senior citizens first, we put partisan talking points first.
I've always put senior citizens.
So how are you going to put more money back in your constituents' pockets besides saying you want to drill on public lands?
Well, you simply stop cutting wasteful spending. Marcia, in the Inflation Reduction Act that Robert loves and supports so much, there was a line item there for $20 million for gender studies in primates in Pakistan. How does that further or mitigate inflation? We
So you're going to take away funds. You're going to take away funds to protect our water supply, clean up contaminated plumes, protect the Long Island Sound because there's a part of the bill you don't like. I'm sure there are parts of the bill I don't like as well.
Then fight for a better bill. How about us being bipartisan and working for a better bill?
How about delivering for our constituents? By the way, look at Social Security. That's a new issue on the shopping block. You advocated privatizing Social Security.
I did not, Robert.
In 2020, when you ran for Congress in 2020, it was on your website. You want to apologize for that position? That's your call. But you advocated privatizing Social Security. That ends it as we know it. We've got to protect our seniors by protecting Medicare and Social Security, not put them on the chopping block because you want to protect tax cuts for the top corporations.
I don't want to protect tax cuts for the top corporate. Come on, Robert.
So
Look,
did you support Joe Biden when he advocated a minimum corporate tax?
You have to have an honest decision.
Okay,
I've always been for taxing corporations higher.
How about Joe Biden's proposal to tax? How about Joe Biden's proposal to tax corporations at a minimum of 15% if they have revenues over $1 billion?
I advocated for 20%, so you're off the mark. I'm actually for a higher tax bracket for corporations.
Then you should be supporting his bill.
His bill is bad. I'm not going to support a bad bill, Robert.
Joe,
the difference is you'll be a rubber stamp for Joe Biden's agenda, and I'll stand up to Joe Biden.
On that note, I'm going to ask you another question because we want to get through some of this. Mr. Zimmerman, you support abortion rights, but do you think it's right in these tough economic times for New York taxpayers to foot the bill for people from out of state to come here and get abortions?
I'm very proud of the fact that our state has become a safe haven for those who seek to have a safe and legal abortion. I'm very proud of the fact our state legislature and our governor put this in place. Let's understand what's happening in our nation. Because of the overturning of Roe, that decision being overturned now, women are going to die because they're going to live in states where they can't get a safe and legal abortion. George wants to create a national ban on abortions.
That's another lie, Robert.
I'll read the quote to you from Rhode Island Now, George.
Yeah, well, when every journalist wants to misquote every politician running for office, it's that
George.
So let me ask you something. Do you think that in these tough economic times, that New York taxpayers, your district, should be paying to give abortions to people who come from out of state? Good idea, bad idea? How do you feel
I think that's on the prerogative of the legislator if they think that's a good use of the taxpayer dollars. My opinion is it's not. I know that in New York State, Marcia, nothing changes for the women of New York. I've always advocated for exceptions on rape, incest, or life of the mother.
Quite to the contrary,
George, frankly,
you advocated a national ban with no exceptions.
I think, quite frankly, you're the party of extreme that wants to advocate for people like myself who were born on the 24th week of gestation to be terminated their life. So I think that's extreme. That's an extreme position,
George,
Robert. Have that honest decision.
You actually compared abortion to slavery.
Oh,
you said women. You said this on video. video, women would use rape as an excuse to get an abortion.
Not in that context.
Well, George,
I said that the
that.
context that I wanted was I want a police report to bring the perps to justice. They're criminals.
So, but you said you would not allow a woman to get abortion due to rape unless there was a police documentation of it? That's what you said.
No, that is not what I said.
George, that is
look, I'm not going to argue with you on, Robert.
But we have to talk about this.
Have an honest discussion. You want to coddle the criminals who rape women in New York State because you support the bail reform laws.
George, you know I don't support
Robert,
bail
you're
reform.
a national committeeman. You've funded every politician who wrote that.
Yeah, George.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there for now. We'll have more with our candidates when we come back.
Lively discussion.